to step number 3. Step number 3 has to do with food. Okay? And I didn't just want to say eat healthy, because like everybody knows that. Okay? Is a cupcake or broccoli better? Everybody answer, what's better for you, cupcake or broccoli, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like talking about eating healthy is step number 3. I wanted to go deeper than that because I value and respect your educated minds. And I know you guys are all listening to the podcast week over week and you're getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And if you're listening to this for the first time, then I want you to go back. And I want you to start listening. Maybe you can start listening around like episode 495 and go on from there. Because we've had many evolutions to the podcast in the recent months. Step 3 is manage your metabolic health and glucose control. Okay, what is glucose? What is glucose, Trisha?
Sugar.
All we're talking about is managing sugar and managing your metabolic health. Metabolic health is key marker is your metabolic flexibility. How efficiently can you switch from burning your body fat as fuel to burning sugar as fuel? So this is all I'm saying here. We're going to talk about the difference between good sugar and what it does and bad sugar and what it does. And I don't want this to be confusing. So Trisha, if you have questions, I know you're wearing your member hat. And if I'm being confusing through all this, please stop me, interrupt me, ask questions, because there are a couple things here that I think are a little deeper than just eat healthy. You know what I mean? Because aren't you kind of sick of that? Like, don't you know to eat healthy? And it's like obvious. It's an obvious thing now, right? Like, eat healthy.
Eat healthy, and then you also hear in the same vein, like, you can still eat McDonald's. It's fine. Just eat in a calorie deficit. But it's like, yeah, okay, I get that. But then how does it actually, the food that I'm putting in my body actually impact? If I'm going to put in the hard work, I want to make sure that I'm putting in the hard work and that's going to make the most impact and be the most effective. So I think if you can just lay it from that perspective, because I think a lot of people are thinking like me, it's like, just tell me what I need to, the key points that I need to take away so I can make the best decision for myself.
There's kind of 2 camps.
Okay.
It all starts with calories.
Yep.
There's quality calories in, calories out, or there's just calories in, calories out. If you're somebody who promotes eating McDonald's, then you're just talking about, and staying in a calorie deficit, you're just talking about calories in, calories out. There's some truth to that. Like energy in, energy out. The total daily energy expenditure and your calorie deficit does not know the difference between the energy units. A calorie is a unit of energy. But what we're not taking into consideration is the macronutrient profile. That protein is actually the structure macronutrient, right? And that fat and carbs are the energy macronutrients. So all your structure, your tendons, your eyeballs, your hair, the structure of your body, most importantly, your skeletal muscle, that all has to do with the protein, the type, the quality, the timing, and then energy expenditure either comes from stored sugar as fat or stored fat as fat, or it comes from the glucose that comes from your carbohydrates. So does that first make sense?
Yes.
That there's kind of 2 camps.
Yes.
Right? Obviously, I'm a quality calories in, calories out, because I understand the exercise science and nutritional principles underlying that that protein is structural and carbohydrates and fat are energetic sources. Now, back to your guy, who's the butt guy, the Glute Lab guy?
Oh, yeah. Brett Contreras, okay? He's going to say quality calories in, calories out, because he was talking about body recomposition, composition of calories, composition of fat mass to muscle mass. That really matters, because if you're just worried about calories in, calories out, and let's just say you don't eat a single gram of protein, then your ability to build muscle, retain muscle mass isn't going to be there, and you'll be what we call skinny fat. Okay? And that's just a term that I don't really like, but everybody has heard it before, so you kind of know what that means. You're unhealthy, but you're lean. And then going back to this idea of longevity and going back to what you said, the key component is you got
Number 1?
You got to have the protein.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why? Because you got to build the muscle.
Yeah.
Number 1 marker.
So if you're into this episode, and Devin's saying it's not wrong, but I'm now learning too, because I get confused at the same time, and I listen to this all the time, but I swear it's in my feed all the time, both sides. But if you are in the game for the long haul, focus on quality calories, getting your protein in first. So thank you for setting it up that way.
Perfect.
All right. So metabolic health, okay? We all know what that is now. I've explained what metabolic health is, okay? It's just the ability for your body to switch between lipolysis and glycolysis using fat for fuel, sugar for fuel. Now, what destroys metabolic health? That's a great question. What do you think destroys metabolic health?
Well, I have a cheat sheet in front of me, so I know it's sugar and alcohol.
You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to sound really smart and act,
I can't lie.
Let me contemplate that in my head and think about. What is it?
Sugar and alcohol.
Sugar and alcohol. Okay? And I'm separating these two things because they're two, not that they are different calorically, by the way, because alcohol requires 9 calories per gram. I believe that's true. And sugar is a carbohydrate. It's 4 calories per gram. Make sure fact check me on that. How many calories per gram is alcohol versus how many calories per gram is sugar? I'm pretty sure alcohol is more. It might be 7, but I know it's different.
And most alcohol also has sugar.
Yes.
So.
Yes, especially if you're like
wine,
doing like a margarita mix,
or the champagne I was just drinking.
Yeah. Yes, I was right. So 7 calories. Yeah, it's 7 calories. So the main macronutrients, just real quick: protein is 4 calories per gram. Mm-hmm. Carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram, and alcohol is 7. So these are 2 different substances. Okay, ethanol versus carbohydrate, 9 versus 4. So these 2 things, sugar or too many carbohydrates, simple sugar especially, monosaccharides, are going to destroy metabolic health, okay? And alcohol will destroy metabolic health. Why does alcohol and sugar create a bad form of blood sugar? Why? This thing called insulin resistance. Have you ever heard of insulin resistance?
I've heard you talk about it.
Insulin resistance is a term that basically means the following. When your body stops responding to insulin, when you're making it harder to lower your blood sugar.
So it's like that's when you would get type 2 diabetes?
Type 2 diabetes, yes, is when you are extremely insulin resistant. We now know you can reverse type 2 diabetes. Yeah. Doctors and scientists of the 90s didn't think you could reverse type 2 diabetes. Now it's obvious. Goes to show that we shouldn't always listen to everything scientific without a grain of curiosity and a grain of intuition and gut when it comes to what a doctor is saying out there. Because how many times have we gone back and all the doctors and all the scientists had said, this is how it is. And then, 10 years later, actually, most recently, red dye.
Yep.
Not harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now that we think about it more,
banned.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that technology is here, that's why I always say scientists should say what we think we know is, because it gives them an out. Okay, so insulin resistance is when you're this is why I highly recommend that you guys overnight fast, that you stop eating at 8 p.m. and if you are so hungry that you need to eat at 8 a.m., do so, but at least take that 12-hour window where you're not feeding your body. That way you can start to normalize your blood sugar, regulate your insulin. You're not going to insulin is like the key to your muscle cells. And you put glycogen in your muscle cell. And insulin resistance is when your body, basically your muscle cell, will not let any more insulin in, which triggers then your body to release more insulin. And you're just resistant to it, and it keeps making more. And that insulin is AKA the fat storage hormone. So if you're constantly spiking your insulin because you're resistant to it and your body believes that it needs to make more, it's going to make more and more and more and more, and you're going to be in this chronic fat storing state.
We don't want that, people.
We don't want that. Okay, so give your body that overnight break. This is why I'm skeptical about people like Dr. Stacy Sims saying active women should never fast, because she doesn't define active and she doesn't define fast. And it's a blanket statement. That's not the best advice. Because I could interpret that, although I don't think this is what she means, just to be clear. Yeah. I could interpret that as I need to be eating all the time.
Yeah.
Right? You need to give your body a break. You have a hunger hormone cycle, ghrelin, leptin, CCK. I talk about it all the time on the podcast. You've got to give leptin a seat at the table, the I'm full hormone. You got to give your body no food so it can regulate those hormones. All right, in a very simple sense. So bad blood sugar, high blood sugar, too many carbohydrates, too much alcohol, especially the destroyer. This is where the term freshman 15 comes from in college. When you binge on alcohol and then you crush pita pit.
Pita pit. You just like summed up my college experience.
Do you
We
remember?
all lived there. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but pita pit was my go-to in college. I don't even know if pita pit's that popular anymore, but that's where we would go. And we just stuff 2 pitas full of stuff after a long night of binging alcohol. And then you wonder why.
So many calories.
So many calories. and alcohol is it's a poison. It's a foreign substance to the body. And so the liver is going to go into overtime. And you're basically, all of your construction workers in your body making your body run are going to be preoccupied by breaking down this alcohol. So they will render anything that comes into your body as fat. Put it that way. All right. And then, what the overnight fasting really does is, the second nerdy term is glycemic variability. What it does is it's basically the variability of your blood sugar. Glycemic, remember glycemic index.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. We've pulled that chart up a couple times.
Yep. Glycemic index is a good a good tool for you to use to eat carb sources that are 55 or moderate GI or lower. Glycemic variability is how much your blood sugar goes up and down throughout the day, which is why I want you to overnight fast, at the very least. I'm to the point now where I'm eating basically 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
And I'm staying super lean.
Yeah. My hard part, I'm not gonna lie, is I've thought about it, it's the cream in the coffee at 4:30 in the morning that just ruins my fast, that window.
You don't have to do it.
I know, but I want to.
Because fasting mostly is caloric control, right? The overnight fast, you're going to get all the benefits. We're going to talk about autophagy in a little bit. You're going to get the cellular health benefits from the overnight fast. You're going to get the glycemic variability, insulin regulation from that overnight fast. So all the things that you would ever want to do. The reason fasting would be a recommendation, in my opinion, for all human beings isn't to be in fasting so that you get shredded. It's to be in a fast so that you can regulate your insulin and that you can regulate your hunger hormonal cycle.
Yeah.
So it's like the real health science benefits, not like the generic vanity benefits that most people will fast for.
Yeah.
See, I fast because my time.
Yeah.
I just have, if I don't eat at the same time every day, then my body isn't at it's that circadian rhythm where we're trying to eat at the same time.
Yeah.
Part of the circadian, people think it's just like when the sun goes up, sun goes down, but it's also when you eat, when you sleep, how you recover. It's your body's natural clock, and you actually can teach your body that you're going to deliver it food at this moment. And so my body's super metabolically flexible. I can go in and out of ketosis very quickly. So if I'm in lipolysis all day, pretty much every day, and then I'll have those periods of time where I'll be in glycolysis using sugar for fuel, and my body's used to that.
Yeah.
So that's just for me. I'm not suggesting that for everybody. What I do suggest for everybody is an overnight fast, and then your coffee to break the fast with the creamer in the morning doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Okay, good. So then I do fast then, because I don't eat that much, and my body has come to expect my coffee at right when I wake up.
Yeah. And plus, because we're going to go into step number 4 in a second. The last thing I want to say about blood sugar and regulating your carbohydrates and glucose control here on step 3 is good blood sugar. What does good blood sugar do? Okay. Good blood sugar lowers inflammation.
Yeah.
Inflammation is this thing that people think it just only happens when I get some acute injury. No, inflammation is reducing the body's fire internally.
Yeah.
Right? It's immune responses when cells are damaged.
Yeah.
That's inflammation. It's not just when your knee gets sore because you tweaked it during a workout. That's swelling, which is a form of inflammation.
Yeah.
But it's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it does, because my sister got married last year, and she had an Indian wedding, and it was like 5 things in a row. And every night we had an event, and I was on her wedding day. I was so swollen because I had been drinking 5 days. That's why, it's because I had a high blood sugar. And okay, so it's all making sense to me. When I feel like I'm less bloated, if I think back to what I was eating, it's because I was eating less sugar. And less alcohol.
I mean, everybody has had that feeling, right?
Is that like a duh moment that I just had, or like?
I think that's yeah, I mean, it's so practical. How many of us have woken up and your fingers are a little swollen, your ankles are a little swollen, you got chubby toes, and you feel like, oh, I'm just bloated right now.
Yeah.
What you really have is an internal fire, an immune response from sugar and alcohol basically destroying and damaging your cells, okay? This is so important because it's the root cause of all disease, is inflammation. We all know that sugar, smoking and drinking, poor sleep, chronic stress. Just, by the way, the sleeper one I want everybody to pay attention to is just sitting around doing nothing. How many of us have just been sitting around doing nothing for a few days and then you start to feel worse?
Yes.
You start to feel tighter.
We get depressed.
We get depressed.
Yeah.
Sedentary lifestyle is a main driver of chronic inflammation. Doing nothing. Our bodies are meant to move.
Yeah.
Biologically, we've been built to move, to hunt for food, to be on the go. Be on the go.
Yeah.
An object in motion tends to stay in motion. So we got to be on the go if we really want to reduce inflammation. Okay? So good blood sugar also means, this is going to be a word, okay?
Okay.
You might have heard this word. The first time I heard this word was about 10 years ago when I was at a Shackley conference. Roger Barnett, the CEO of Shackley, amazing company. I still take their Vitalizer multivitamin today. I clean all my laundry and do all my dishes with the Shackley clean, environmentally safe dish soap and laundry soap. And I take a couple other products as well to supplement my burn nutrition products. And Roger Barnett got on stage and talked about a word called the telomere. Okay? So you have these chromosomes, okay, that are in your body, all right? And chromosomes, if you think about the chromosome as the shoelace, the telomere is the protective plastic cap on the end of the shoelace, okay? What happens when that plastic cap comes off the shoelace?
Your shoelace comes unraveled, and it's annoying.
And the life of that shoelace is shorter or longer if the plastic...
It's shorter.
It starts to fray, and all of a sudden it frays down the shoelace, and before you know it, doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
Good blood sugar promotes longer telomeres, which are the protective caps of the ends of your chromosomes, like the plastic tips on the shoelaces, which means that you protect the shoelace or the chromosome longer, the DNA. You protect the DNA longer. You keep the shoelace intact longer. So if you're staying away from inflammation by exercising regularly, strength training like in step 1, hey, you have a VO2 max, you're conditioned. Step 2, you're keeping drinking and smoking to a minimal, okay? Meaning like a couple times a month at most. You're moving your body. You're going to have lower inflammation. You're going to have longer telomeres. You're going to have better DNA. Your cells are going to be more healthy. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So basically what I'm saying here on step 3 is to manage your metabolic health, manage glucose control. You want to don't eat food. Here's a simple way to put it. So it's practical just to round this out so we can move on. Glucose control means that have an overnight fast, 12 hours overnight where you don't eat, and don't eat carbohydrates that are above the 55 number on the glycemic index. Pull up glycemic index one more time, Chelsea, just so everybody can see it. Okay? That's it. If you do that, you're going to have metabolic health, and you're going to have some form of glucose control at the very baseline. So here is a glycemic index. Take a screenshot of this. Chelsea's going to pull this up on your screen if you're watching it at home. It's got low GI is 55 or lower. You have medium GI, 56 to 69. High GI is 70 plus. There's a red, a yellow, and a green. It's very easy. Take a screenshot of this. Only eat the foods that are in green. Overnight fast for 12 hours every night. You're going to have metabolic health and glucose control just by doing those things. You don't need to know what telomeres or insulin resistance or glycemic variability actually are.
And I think at the end of the day, not only is your body going to feel better, but then you will feel better. So you can actually live like the day and enjoy your life. I just know, like, thinking back in those moments of time when you're not treating your body very well, you don't feel very well. You treat your body well, you feel great. I was just trying to simplify it for the people because I know that's good motivation for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Chase my kids around a little bit more.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go on a walk after you eat. Things like that.
Yep.
Stay moving.